It's always nice to see where the rookies stand right after minicamp, not only with their play on the field, but with what their head coach has to say about their performance. What's going on, Broncos Country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's episode, we are highlighting the Broncos rookie minicamp winners and, unfortunately, the losers. Interestingly enough, though, by the way, I have been issued my first challenge here as the Broncos host. Mitchell Renz, the rat bastard that he is over at the Raiders Report, said, "Congratulations on becoming a host here. Now, I will tell you this, you will not even sniff what we're doing in subscribers in May." And then he had a not-so-nice photo of the Broncos logo in a very, we'll call it phallic nature, if you catch my drift. So I decided to get one back on him, and I found this on the internet. So cheers to you, Mitchell Renz, and your Raiders crew. So do me a favor, Broncos Country. Hit that subscribe button and help us beat these guys over here. Speaking of our rookies, though, let's get into it. These are the numbers, by the way, that they have chosen. Now, these are subject to change. These aren't necessarily the final numbers they're going to go into the 2025 season with, but they very well could be. So these are, at least right now, what they have chosen. I know a lot of people have been kind of belly aching about the RJ Harvey 37. I thought he was going to go with straight up number 7, but I digress. Let's get on to our winners and losers, shall we? Our first winner, Jahdae Barron, the cornerback out of Texas, our round 1 pick. And Sean Payton had glowing things to say about him. I would say he is exactly what we saw on tape. Smart, savvy, and if you're watching closely, some people transition and stop very quickly. He has really quick twitch. I'd say he's very sticky in coverage. There's a lot of football jargon there that I kind of want to break down, but it essentially comes down to this. Barron is so versatile and has such tremendous skill at every single position that he's played, whether that be the nickel corner, outside corner, or even sometimes playing safety, that he understands coverages better than most incoming cornerback rookies because he's played at so many different positions. Now, one of the things that you want to see, at least from your round 1 pick, is to take command of the defense. And the reports indicate that not only did he do that, but he did that at a very high level. Now is the time to showcase your leadership skills. That's what rookie minicamp is all about. You often see that a young man of his age will come in and it's his first ever camp. He's so excited to be in the NFL that he struggles to find his voice as he's learning the scheme, learning what Vance Joseph wants to do, and that wasn't the case. It was reported that he was all over the field, calling out different coverage packages, taking where to line up, where to switch on different receivers, which is exactly what you want to see out of a very young rookie leader, and maybe showing signs of becoming a co-captain. I'm going to throw that out there. I think that could be very much in play for our round 1 pick. Our first loser, I don't necessarily know that I want to call him a loser because Payton had so many great things to say about all of the rookies and their camp, but I feel like I have to put him in the loser category because there wasn't much on this guy's play, just more on his traits. So a little bit of background information in case you're unfamiliar with Caleb Lohner, the tight end out of Utah. He only played in 1 full season as a tight end. In fact, as a football player in general, he only played 1 year of college football. The rest of his time in college was spent as a basketball player. Now, Sean Payton has some interesting things to say about Lohner's traits and his attributes, being 6'7" and 256 pounds. Here's what Payton had to say. He only played a year, 80-something snaps. I think he had 18 catches. So yes, we have to coach and develop. In other words, if it wasn't already present, when you watch him and you guys see him and shake his hand, you stand next to him and you're like, holy cow, there are traits that excite me. Then just visiting with him and his intentionality and his excitement about it, I'm excited to watch it. Now, he has drawn comparisons to a former tight end that Sean Payton once had. Maybe you recognize the name, Jimmy Graham, who played college football and basketball at the University of Miami. Now, if you take a look at their final collegiate seasons, both on the basketball court as well on the football field, it's clear that Jimmy Graham was a better basketball player, but also a better football player, and that's why he went in the 3rd round. I say all that to say this. Let's have a little bit of patience with Lohner. He's obviously a work in progress, right? This is a guy that you can't teach his size, you can't teach his athletic ability, but he's not very skilled yet in the football world. He has to learn how to block. He's got to learn how to get open in the middle of the field on routes. He has to learn to play action. He has to learn how to chip block. There's so many different things that he has to learn. As a kid that has only played 1 year of college football, he should be so excited to be ingratiated into an unbelievable offense like Sean Payton's. But with that being said, there is that element of like, we just have to take a step back and allow things to take its course. So I'm going to ask a very presumptuous question for you. Will Caleb Lohner make the 53-man roster? I'm going to be optimistic here. I'm going to say yes, he does. If Jimmy Graham can be developed by Sean Payton, there's nothing in my mind that would tell me otherwise, that he can't be developed, Lohner can't be developed as well. On to our second winner, I should say, third on our list, RJ Harvey. And I was hoping he was going to have a stellar standout minicamp, and boy, did he ever. The first thing that you have to note, look at the size of that dude's legs. I'm giving him a new nickname, the Quad Father. I know everybody was throwing out Quadzilla, but the Quad Father just seems way more appropriate. And what he lacks in height, he makes up for in this strong, lowered center of gravity, compact size. Here's what Sean Payton had to say about Harvey and his minicamp. He picked up on things very quickly, what we're doing. You can tell it's really important to him. This is like the first exposure to the training room, the weight room, the schedule, the nutrition, the practice. There's a lot more than just, hey, we're going to run these plays. He's looked good, though. Now, one of the areas that I will say that was a big question mark coming into this year as Harvey, the prospect and the draft pick, was he's not the greatest in the passing game. Well, Payton made sure that he got reps immediately. And if there's one type of back that I believe Payton really, really likes, it's not that bell cow type of back. He wants the dual threat passing and running back. You can see it in the former players that he's coached, Darren Sproles and Alvin Kamara. And believe it or not, Harvey was kind of asked about his role on the team and those two players in general. And here's what he actually said about the two. I want to be better than those guys. And if that doesn't make you want to run through a brick wall, I don't know what does. Because the last thing that you want to see is a player go, yeah, I kind of want to turn into my version of those guys, or hopefully with a little bit of, work, I can get up to the level of those guys. No, you want to see self-confidence. You want to see a guy take control and say, not only do I believe in myself, but I think I can be a step above those guys. It isn't arrogance, it's confidence. Arrogance would be saying, I'm already better than those guys. If you want to be better than those guys, go out there, Rook, and show us what you got. And speaking of the Rooks, once we get in the full slate of all the Broncos jerseys, we're going to have way more options for you to choose from. But as of right now, take a look at this Jahdae Barron rookie jersey. If you want to start shopping for your rookie jerseys for the Broncos, make sure you do it with this link right here. If you want to support our number one overall pick, our first round pick, I should say, make sure you use this link that I put in the comments and description of today's video. Remember to shop Fanatics. All right. Our second loser, Sai'vion Jones. This one feels a little bit more on the nose in terms of an actual loser. I'm just going to tell you right now, there was not at all anything about Sai'vion Jones's rookie minicamp. It was so hard to find what they were saying about him as the player. The only thing that I could really scrape together was the interview that he did afterwards, where he basically just said, I'm soaking everything in. Okay, that's great, and it is the time to do that. But if there's not a lot of reporting on you, does that kind of mean that you just floated into the backfield? Because that, to me, is what it signifies, is that you're taking a little bit longer to learn everything, and that's fine. But remember, we drafted this guy based off of the ability to make an impact as a rotational piece year one, not as a starter. At 6'5", 283 pounds, he's got tremendous size and burst off the edge. He's got that high motor that everybody was talking about. He plays with a great amount of energy. And I think this is the time for him to sit back and not only learn the defense, but also to take what you're going to learn here in OTAs from guys like Nick Bonito and Zach Allen and Jonathan Cooper and John Franklin Myers. Learn different ways to play the position, because if you're going to be asked to flip inside, if you're going to switch to a 4-3 defense rather than a 3-4 or a 3-tech, this is the time to do it from the best in the NFL. The Broncos led the entire NFL last year in sacks with 67. So it's okay that you're taking it all in right now and starting to learn the system. But eventually, you want to hear the praise from not only the coaching staff, but from the reporters at Mile High that, hey, he's really taken the next steps as a football player, and we can expect him to see the football field year one. Our last winner, again, somebody that just puts a smile on my face every time I read about him. Pat Bryant, the wide receiver out of Illinois, 3rd-round pick. One of the things that I think goes so underrated about Bryant is his confidence and his ability to track the football. There was reports going back and forth that he was one-on-one with Jahdae Barron this entire rookie camp, and he actually made a highlight play where he just went up and snagged a ball over everybody, and he had this to say, quote, "When the ball is in the air, it's mine." Another really confident answer, and he's so silky smooth, too. I think that was another thing that really stood out to me is his route running is so much better than I originally gave him credit for. Now, Payton didn't have much to say about Bryant's on-the-field rookie minicamp, but he did say that he is so much like Michael Thomas. And funny enough, they're wearing the same number right now. So Michael Thomas being the off the line of scrimmage, one of the best the NFL has ever seen. His career stats prove that to be indefinite. 743 targets, over 500 receptions, almost 7,000 yards, 36 touchdowns, and his average was great too. You couldn't find a player like Michael Thomas. If you would have told me, I'll backtrack and say this. If you would have told me that Payton views him as maybe the 1A version of Michael Thomas, I would have taken that all day and twice on Sunday. I think there's still some obvious holes in Bryant's game that need to be adjusted. But for a kid coming out who has such confidence in his ability to track the football and bring it down in contested catches, I think you are looking at a player that has not only exceeded my expectations so far early on, but my stock is significantly rising on the kid. I'm going to give an honorable mention as well as we wrap up the video here to Q Robinson, who, again, one of those players that you can't help but smile when you read about him, especially after the answer that he gave the Denver media. He said, "I would love if Denver would know I'm a guy that's willing to make and do anything to make sure we win a game and ultimately get to where we need to be. I like to win. If that means that running down kickoffs 5,000 times and being on punt coverage 4,000 times, I'm willing to do it." He's such a likable guy. Got a great smile. He's got a great attitude about him. And obviously with a kid that, only played in 5 games last year and for the majority of his college career was a special teams player, you can also expect a full-time role on special teams year one. Maybe with the right coaching and maybe with a defying of expectations, he can find his way as a depth piece or a rotational piece year one, and then a couple years down the road, maybe into a starting role. But I think right now this is a very safe place for him, and I think that's just fine. You could probably put him as a gunner, too. I would love to see him use his athleticism and his speed to track down players in the punt game and the kick return game. Okay. Thanks for sticking around for the entirety of the video. I know there was a lot to cover there. And I'm going to ask you and leave you with this question. Which Broncos rookie will have the best season? I'm going to say based off of necessity, it's going to be RJ Harvey. I think in terms of what he already adds to such a great positional value, it might be Jahdae Barron, but I'll stake my claim for RJ Harvey at first. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. My name is Moose. Remember to like the video, subscribe, help us beat the Raiders report, and share this with the Broncos fan in your life. Until next time, be cool.